Hi, I'm Vegas Suds, and welcome to the 2013 DCHL Spring Season Playoff Preview Podcast. A very special season for us because it is our 10th anniversary season. And as we always do, we award champions with trophies. And in this case, as we've evolved so far, we actually have 4 champions to crown. We have the DCHL Cup for the top 4 teams in the DCHL Pro Division who will play off, and the winner will get the DCHL Cup Pro. Name will be entrenched on there as well too. We also have the DCHL Cup Rec, where the top 4 teams in the Rec Division will play off, and the winner of that particular playoff bracket will get the DCHL Cup Rec. I have their name also engraved here as well too. But the beauty of our league is the fact that we not only had just the top 4 teams involved, no matter how well you did or did not do in the regular season, or how poorly you may have done in the regular season, the beauty of our league is that everybody makes the playoff in their own brackets. So whether you made the top 4 or not, there are other brackets as well, and the bottom 4 teams actually have a trophy to play for as well too. The bottom 4 teams in the DCHL Pro Division will play for the TGIS Cup Pro, and the bottom 4 teams in the DCHL Cup Rec Division will play for the TGIS Cup Rec as well too. So again, everybody gets involved in the playoffs. It's fun for everybody in general. Everybody plays for a trophy. That's what I like about this league. That's what I created to make sure everybody gets a chance to get involved as well too. So sit back and relax as Brian Smalley, who's filling in, and also Andy Goss, back in the studios at IHOP in Fairfax, will give you a recap of Week 7 action, the final week of the regular season for our league, and we'll break down all the games, what the results were, who did what, and how we got here to this point where we now have 4 different brackets and 4 teams in each bracket to determine a champion in each of those brackets as well too. So stay tuned for Andy to give you the insight of that one, and also we'll be back later on with our individual bracket breakdown. Look at all different brackets one by one, give you some insight on the teams that are playing in those brackets, what to look for, not to look for. I'll give you some clue into what these teams can do and not do. Give you maybe a little bit of a scout report as well too, and give you our feel for what may happen in those brackets as well. So it's a great podcast. Have fun with it. Enjoy. A lot of information, a lot of fun as well too. And the podcast starts officially right now with the music, and we'll see Andy on the other side. You are now watching the DCHL 2013 Spring Season Playoff Preview Podcast, and it starts officially right now.
Well, we'd like to thank Vegas Suds for checking in from his undisclosed location somewhere in the nuclear testing facility as we begin a look into the 10th playoff season for the DCHL. The road to Sud Bowl 10 has officially begun. I am Andy Goss, as always. I'm being joined today by fellow Scorpion Brian Smalley. We're here basically commiserating at this point. Yes! It has been pretty... in case you're wondering where the commissioner is, we threw him under the bus about 5 minutes ago.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we nobody wants to see him anyway. We got all sorts of comments saying that he absolutely had no clue what he was doing, and that nobody wanted to see his face on the camera. And he's mentioned that he's going to be very quiet while holding the camera during this segment, so we can say whatever we want, and he's not going to stop us.
Yeah, right.
There we go. He's biting his lip. I love this. Now that we've officially ruined any chance we ever have of the Lady Bing Trophy, let's get back to the game.
Pretty much. There goes competition points.
No kidding.
I will say one comment, guys. I have the edit button, so everything can be edited out anytime I want to. FYI. Continue, gentlemen.
Well, we're screwed.
Yep. So much for that. All right. Week 7, the final week of the season, began in the Pro Division. The Puck Buddies were at the top. The Blood Red was at the bottom, and it sure looked like it. Blood Red did their usual. Really not very organized as far as system, and on top of that, there were a lot of misplays. and against a team like the Puck Buddies, who can't afford misplays, they got the shutout, they got the 6-0 win, and as a result, it's going to be the Puck Buddies at the #1 spot. They've run the season, they have swept everybody. Of course, they're really excited about that. I asked the captain Molly who she wanted to see in the semifinal. She really didn't have a favorite. She thought that all the teams were dangerous. But you've seen this. Have you seen this team yet?
No, but going into the playoffs undefeated, tell me if I'm wrong here, they had not had an opportunity to teeter on playing a very close game.
Yeah, they've been able to blow games open, so you're right about that. And that's kind of a scary thought, but it can go both ways. You know how it is. The team isn't tested during the regular season. Do they have the mettle in the playoffs? That's going to be the question here.
They could possibly be the President's top team, in which they dominate the regular season, then fall flat in the first round versus NWO.
And if that's the case, we will give them an all-expenses-paid trip to Vancouver. So, on to
1 minute left on your 2-minute time limit, guys.
All right, well, I think we don't have much else to say about this. It's pretty straightforward. The next game, we had the 5-minute Majors taking on the Scabs. This was a game where the Majors came in on the back of 3 straight shutouts. They haven't let up a goal, I think, since against the Babylon Warriors at this point.
Since the Eisenhower administration, I believe, is what the actual terminology is. But continue, guys.
Yes. And it didn't matter who was in the back. It didn't matter who was taking shots. They are not stopped. They stop everything. Scabs were hoping to move up to second, possibly, if everything went their way. But they couldn't solve the riddle of the Majors defense either. The Majors go in with 19 out of a possible 21 points, a 3-0 win, and thanks to results elsewhere, these two teams are going to meet again in the playoffs with a promotion spot on the line. Now, sorry, I apologize to everyone. My nose is kind of running here.
Sorry.
Now, the way that these promotion playoffs work, the 2 versus 3 game, now we had a little bit of discussion about this last week. We were a little confused about it, but the 2 versus 3 game, what's this?
No playoffs, that's good results.
All right, we're going to get to that later. But as it stands right now, the Majors getting that top spot, that means they only have to win 1 out of 2 to promote. I think they're pretty good odds to do that.
Wow, that really doesn't make any sense. Promotion, relegation? You're going to have to explain that to me.
We will. So he's currently looking up all the stats on the app on his smartphone. You can get the DCHL app at any fictional store anywhere.
I thought we played hockey, not soccer.
All right.
No, seriously, promotion, relegation.
Why not? It doesn't mean that we got all the teams right. So, we played the Majors, we played the Scabs. You saw those 2 teams. Who do you think's really got the advantage in that one?
5-minute Majors, hands down.
All right. I think that's a pretty safe bet there.
Next
Game you saw on the DCHL network. 2 Jacks, no Coke taking on the Scorpions. Scorpions a little short-handed, Brian. I know you couldn't make it for that one.
Wow, it was taped?
Yeah, unfortunately. And the Jacks got off to a really hot start. They got the first 3 goals in the first period. The Scorpions kept whittling away, able to tie it up with about 10 minutes to go, but they couldn't capitalize on the momentum. They ran out of gas. They started taking penalties. Final score was 6-3 to the Jacks. That locked them up at the number 2 seed, and now they're 1 win away from the Pro Division. And we've seen this team come a long way. It's kind of amazing. They started with no wins on the season last season. Now here they are, second place in the division. I don't know whether it's the system, whether it's the new. I think it's mostly the new players. But you've seen them. Do you think this team's looking?
I haven't actually seen them.
You haven't, huh?
No,
All right. Well, I think we can say that any result against us is probably not one that you want to measure with.
And just hearing that we're taking dumb penalties again and just not having a system altogether just really personifies what we didn't do this entire season.
Yeah.
I do want to add a comment here from behind the camera here. This game was taped. You should see it on the DCHL network or YouTube network out there. I was actually the one calling the game, and Jay Hunter, the captain of the Untouchables, was doing the color commentating. We had some really good insights on what the problems with Scorpions were. We put it on video and what the 2 Jacks No Coke did actually correctly. So watch the video when it comes out. You'll see a lot of good things that the 2 Jacks No Coke did, a lot of bad things Scorpions do. It'll be a good educational tool for the Scorpions as well, too.
All right.
It's kind of sad that it's taken that long just to have someone record our game to figure out what's wrong when it should come from the top down.
All right, well, Game 4 is between the 2 teams that tied us during the season, and under very different circumstances. Street Sharks was just a shootout. L2T was a game where the goaltenders stood on their heads. whose offense, whose system will win the day. It turned out to be the Street Sharks winning the day, and winning the day big with a 7-4 win, which was not quite enough to get them into the promotion playoffs, but they were this close. They lost out on a tiebreaker. Street Sharks next season could be in that promotion. That top 4 playoff. You think this is a bit of a disappointment for them, given how they played? Do you think that they could have thrived in the pro the way things are going?
Would have, could have, should have, but didn't.
Exactly. And that's the big thing we have here. L2T, long season for them. No win. The only team without a win right now. It's kind of unfortunate, but you have players who are trying really hard. You have players that put forth maximum effort. I'm not quite sure what the problem there is. I'm sure that when you look at the video, it'll be obvious. Just trying to do this off the top of my head, I can tell you right now, it's just a matter of we never knew coming in. We didn't know, because it's the largest rink anybody's played in. We couldn't really tell who was going to be the best and who wasn't. And so, unfortunately, L2T just fell flat.
I'm going to add to Andy's thought process here quickly here, important-wise. L2T actually played pretty well. They got some players that look pretty good. David looks good. Andrew Grant has been scoring goals. He may be an all-star here. I think the issue with L2T's defense and goaltending, they have a new goalie who's learning the game. So when they tied up that defense and goaltending, they'll be competitive next season.
All right. Game 5. This one was on paper for nothing. Both teams had already been knocked out of the Final Four, but it did mean something in the long run as far as the relegation playoffs. The winning team would be in that number 5 spot. It was the Snake Eyes and Cobra Kai heads-up battle, and Cobra Kai didn't have a full roster, and it wound up costing them. The Snake Eyes can take advantage. They hit you in waves. This is what they did here. They got a 5-2 win now. We played the Snake Eyes in the preseason. You know what they can do. You know their style. That sort of grinding style. Are you surprised, having seen this, that they were so successful this season? Not just against Cobra Kai putting up 5, but the previous week as well, dominating Blood Red. Do you think that they were capable of putting up that many goals?
I'm trying to remember if we did play Snake Eyes. I don't think we did.
It was in the preseason.
The first game of the season, you guys played Snake Eyes, yes. That game, and you guys lost.
Yeah, it was 3-0, but I mean...
If I remember correctly about the Snake Eyes is that they live by the dramatic environment, in the sense that it'll take them a miracle sometimes to pull out a victory, and most of the games they've played have gone to a shootout where it's to determine whether or not they've won or not. Yes, Suds?
I'm sorry, I'm raising my hand when you're done with the top process. Oh. Anything else you want to add, Brian?
Well, he is right about one thing. The Snake Eyes are the only team with 2 shootout victories this season.
And I haven't seen Cobra Kai play, but what I gather just from results, and they had a hot start and kind of grew into a little bit of a rough patch, was able to compensate a little bit, and they kept battling as the season progressed.
My thought process, I'm sorry, Brian, to interrupt on Snake Eyes, is that was the old Snake Eyes. I've seen the last 3 from the Snake Eyes. They're scoring goals now. They're scoring goals in bunches. They're forechecking. The Galphins game is clicking out there. Not the same Snake Eyes team we saw earlier. This is a very dangerous team, and the top 4 teams in DCHL Cup Pro are very lucky to play them in that bracket.
And this all goes back to what if they'd gotten what if they had read the schedule right? What if they'd shown up for that game against the Ducks? How would things have changed? Because I can tell you right now, as it ended, had they shown up and beaten the Ducks, they'd be in, and the Ducks would be out.
So you're bringing up a good point, and what I'm starting to hear when it comes to these podcasts is that every game matters. Even if it's, a result goes into overtime, or sorry, the shootout, because we don't have overtime. Every little point out there matters.
Absolutely.
If you don't have an entire roster, or you don't roll lines, forecheck, back check, play defense, have a goalie, any of those combinations, you basically fucked.
Mm-hmm. Can we say that on the air?
I just did, and okay. I hope it's not edited.
All right.
Next game.
Game 6 was really big. It was Babylon Warriors and the Untouchables, and the winner was in with a chance for promotion. Babylon Warriors had gotten off to a really rough start early in the season, but they battled back. They wound up riding a hot goalie. They wound up riding a hot shooter, and again, JP came through. He carried the day, led the Warriors to a 3-2 victory, and just like that, the Babylon Warriors, written off for dead early in the season, they're in with a shot at getting promoted to the Pro Division. This is a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
A little bit from what I saw early on versus what I saw later on versus this season. In the season, it was night and day. The Babylon Warriors we played 3 weeks ago.
2 weeks, I think it was.
Close enough. They're very combatant and defensive oriented, and they capitalized on the opportunities they had on offense. But I don't think JP can carry the entire team throughout the entire playoffs. Other individuals will need to step up. Yes,
All right.
It's the reason that the Warriors are doing well is because it's no longer a one-man team. It's not a two-man team. It's JP and Alex Claude. Alex is doing very, very well. They're playing up to there as well too. Plus, they have more depth players. Players are showing up now, so depth scoring showing up as well too. And Todd's playing better. Todd struggled early on as well too. Those 3 wins, how's it going?
Yeah.
So
I'll give him
he played well.
props for basically dismantling your frustrating Scorpion shooters when we played against them.
Yeah.
Good point. Anything else to add on that game, Andy?
Not right now. We'll get to the ramifications of that game later. The Chiefs against the Funk Masters. The Funks were very glad that their win last week qualified them for the Final Four because they already had plans for this weekend, and they had maybe 1.5 lines to the game. And
Keith
was not there. Sean was not there. Nick Moser was there. Simon was there, but that wasn't enough. The Chiefs rolled out 3 lines, just kept coming at them at all cylinders. The Funks were totally worn down. 5-0 win for the Chiefs, enough to get them off the basement in the Pro Division, which is a huge benefit that we'll talk about later. And what it comes down to right now is that the Chiefs are going in with momentum. Unfortunately, that momentum is going to run them headlong into Cobra Kai.
I don't know if you want to call 5-0 victory momentum, in the sense that Chiefs had everything to play for, yet Funk Master had nothing to play for. It kind of conveys sheep.
That's true. It's like with Week 17 in the NFL. How much can you really take from it?
Correct. And I'd rather see the Chiefs actually earn a hard or well-deserved victory than have a 5-0 shutout over a team that's already clinched a playoff spot and had nothing to do with that game.
Yeah.
And a good point. I'm going to add my thoughts there as well too. This was an opportunity for the Chiefs to move up in 7th seed, not because they deserved it, but because Blood Red again failed. They failed to win the game again. They got blown out. So if Blood Red just gotten a couple more points, this would not have been an issue. But the Chiefs kind of earned it because they had the right to play that game, obviously. So to me, it's more about Blood Red falling apart than really the Chiefs moving up. But the Chiefs have been playing well. They've won 2 of the last 4 games, I believe, or 3 games out there. This is a team that I warn you, as you get to the next one out there, is a team that you don't want to look into. They may actually win the TGI's Cup Pro if their full-time players show up. So FYI.
All right. Our final game of the evening. You will see it on the DCHL network. The NWO and the Ducks. This one had major ramifications. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the Final Four were all on the line. The Funk Masters were watching on, very nervous about what's going to happen. And I'll tell you right now, Neil, our great referee, said this was the best game he had seen this season. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but it was an incredible game, very intense. Not played at a pace the Ducks are very comfortable with. And it was the unusual players coming forward for both teams. It was Bill Nardi with the goal for the NWO. Tracy Bannister, who is normally a defensive player, got the goal for the Ducks. You go into the shootout, and there was a little controversy, but video replay vindicated the refs, said they made the right call on a couple of plays. No problems. The game ends 1-1. As a result, the Ducks are number 2. NWO stays number 4. They're going to run headlong to the Puck Buddies. That's going to be interesting.
My thought process there is that this game was very important because this was a game where the winner avoided the Puck Buddies.
More or less.
And in this case, with the tie, that happened to be the loser happened to be NWO. With their tie, they happened to play the Puck Buddies out there. So no one wants to play the Puck Buddies the first round of the playoffs. But the team that's actually doing very, very well, it's NWO. They have a good chance to maybe pull the upset as well too. And you're right, Andy. This was a game where I thought the Ducks should get points because they played the NWO style of play, and they still hung tough when they gave up 1 goal.
Absolutely.
Normally, when they play that style, they lose. The Ducks showed me something there, playing that same style and hanging tough.
Yeah. And you see that game on the DCHL network, by the way.
Yes.
You'll hear us giving a little bit of a preview of the playoffs, but we're going to give a more in-depth preview today. But first, we're going to eat a little of our dinner, and then we're going to talk about a couple of things in each division. We're going to talk about a team that surprised us, a team that disappointed us, and a team whose results only we saw coming. We'll be back.
rolling.
So we made a little headway on our dinner, and now it's time to start calling teams out. For each division, the pro and the rec, we're going to talk about a team that surprised us as far as the result, talk about a team that disappointed us, and rub it in each other's faces, basically, that there was a team where we knew they were going to be good or knew they were going to be bad, and the other person had doubts, and we wound up being right.
So I told you so pick.
Exactly, the I told you so pick. We're going to start in the pro division. We're going to start with what I think is the surprise team there, the Ducks. Just a team that was lacking in defense when they started. They were okay-ish in Tacoma. They didn't really have any back line. All of a sudden they get here, they start winning games, they start being competitive, they start getting all the right breaks, all the right moves, and suddenly here they are, the number 2 team in the pro division, out of nowhere, really. It's astonishing, it's surprising. They deserve all the credit in the world. If there were a coach of the year, it would go to the Ducks coach, but we don't have coaches, so whatever.
Captains Tracy and Honey can get credit for that.
Well, there you go. All right.
I don't know the pro division.
All right. Well,
so he's abstaining. I'm going to say that the most surprising team to me, even though they were tired to be very good, was the Puck Buddies, because they had no one on that team that really played with each other. So maybe the females, maybe Jen Pa and Cassie played with Molly and Maria did, but the rest of the team are all pretty much new players. There's not much chemistry, that was there, so they actually learned to play together. They did very well together, and to come into a league with different pieces of the puzzle and finish undefeated, that's really a great trade. I think that they still are my surprise team how well they did. The fact they were perfect so far this season.
All right. The disappointing team, I gotta go with the team Blood Red, 1-6. Now, we maybe should have seen this coming because back at St. Albans, they were technically relegated, got a reprieve when the rosters were shuffled so much coming here to Rockville. But at the same time, we saw wide open spaces. We saw players like Boris and Tommy. We thought they're gonna have a field day. But they couldn't really hit the target. They couldn't get into position, and suddenly that back line got exposed. They're weak to the counterattack. Tom did all he could in most of those games, which was just an obscene amount, but he couldn't hold the fort. He was like sticking his finger in a leaky dam. If you've ever seen that famous Dutch drawing. And now Blood Red, as scary as it is, you can't really feel sorry for them. For their finish, they kind of deserve to be where they are, and if they get sent to rec, they'll deserve that too. What do you think? Oh, right, you're abstaining. What do you think,
Actually,
Seth?
I agree with you regarding Blood Red.
Yeah.
Just based on results, the team itself can't always rely on your goalie to bail you out. So that conveys that there's more issues than what it seems on paper. And I haven't really watched any or most of their games, but there's something not right, and it could be that they just aren't equipped to play in large spaces.
Okay.
All right.
I have nothing to add. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, hate to say I told you so, Suds, but back when this began, you kept saying the Funk Masters were a lucky team, that they found ways to steal games.
I did not say that.
Well,
they were lucky
first
team.
week, first week, you said they stole wins.
Let's go back. I want to go back. I never used the word lucky and Funkmaster in the same sentence, so I think I had the wrong word choice there. So the Funkmasters sometimes are very fortunate because they get to win those close games. They got a lucky bounce the first game that helped them win. I may have mentioned that, but I didn't say they were lucky. They were fortunate that they won that first game and they got some few breaks their way.
Yeah,
they're not a team that's a powerhouse team, a team that have to play hard every week to win or lose. So I didn't.
Yeah, stick with the thesaurus, man.
Okay,
but,
we'll go back and check the podcast to read it out. But I want to make your point, Andy. Your point was that the Funk Masters, in your opinion,
they were good. They were going to be
fair
there.
Enough.
They were going to be a Final Four team. They're going to be a team with a chance to win it all. Guess what? They've got a very good chance to win it all. They have ridden Keith. They've gotten strong back performance. Simon, now that we have the full rank, has shown his skill as a defender and is probably one of the better pure defenders out there. You kept saying they needed scoring from other sources. Well, they got Sean to step up. They got Nick to step up. And right now, this is a team that is a favorable matchup, and it would not surprise anyone to see them in the championship game and giving whichever team is in the championship game a scare. So let me just say right now, I told you so.
All right. Brian.
I'm stating because I don't know anything.
All right.
I told you so in the pro division. Wow. I'm going to abstain on this one as well, too. Let's move on.
Man, you were the one touting the Ducks in the car. Why are you suddenly backing off?
Well, okay, I guess I'll take the top of Ducks. The Ducks are a team that my partner wasn't exactly a big fan of. And I kept saying they're a good team. They lack a little defense. They lack little grinders. And their defense has gotten better, but they still lack grinders and back checkers and neutral zone play. That's the one fault I see, but they're still a very good team. And to finish number 2 in a very tough pro division, only behind the perfect Buck Buddies, tells me how good they are. So you're right. They are, I told you so, they're that good, FYI. Thank you for reminding me, Andy.
All right. Now go to the rec division. You want to talk a surprise? I'm going to talk Babylon Warriors here. Because this is a team that founded at the end of the season. And yes, the addition of Alex was a big help. The reason there was such a big help is it allowed JP more room to make plays. He's the playmaker on that team. Alex is just the big shooter. And I say just as if that's an insult. Being a big shooter is important. But JP is what makes that team go. And then Todd stood up on the back. They came from nowhere. They are number 3 right now. They did not have a very strong performance at St. Albans. They did not have a strong performance at Tacoma. Now they get a chance to jump to the pro division in a building really where you thought that wouldn't happen as much. And so they are my surprise, and it's a very pleasant surprise. Guys, congratulations.
My biggest surprise is 5-minute majors. Main reason is how they dominated the rec league. They've given up a total of under 10 goals.
Let's try 5.
Oh, even
less
more
than 1 a game,
impressive.
folks.
5 goals in 7 games.
You really can't go anywhere else with that. And that just personifies how well this team is playing as a functional unit.
4 shutouts in 7 games. That's astounding. Unbelievable. Congratulations to
If they don't walk
Violet.
away winners this year, then that's colossal disappointment for them.
Great picks, guys. I'm going to pick a third team that I thought deserves honors, and the third team is 2 Jacks, no Coke. This team actually, had no wins last season. Where the goal scorer would come from? It's going to be Lucy. It's going to be who else? But Fitz has scored goals. New player Aria scored goals. Mickey scoring goals. They're getting balanced scoring across the board. Their team defense is still there. Sean's has come in and basically made the goaltending end very solid. For this team to be a second seed after having no wins last season, that to me is a surprise that you have to obviously applaud as well too. So there you go.
Now let's talk about disappointment. Now, when we were discussing this backstage, we all agreed we're the biggest disappointment in the league. But
when you say we, the people know who
the Scorpions.
Scorpions.
Okay. But I don't want to pile on too much. So I want to deflect it to somebody else because, frankly, I might get a little depressed talking about us for too much the way things went. I'm going to ask the Street Sharks what happened. This is a team that was enthusiastic. This is their home arena. They have a lot of young players. They have a lot of good shooters. They have a lot of depth. And again, they found ways to not win. I think if you look back, it's now official. Their collapse against the Scorpions wound up costing them a spot in the playoffs. And you got to wonder what happens to this team. Why do they ride that emotion, that momentum so much? What are they going to do going forward?
Andy made a very good point here because the Street Sharks, I believe, if I recall correctly, was tied for 4th, but lost the tiebreaker to the Scabs.
They did, yes.
At one point, that big game against the Scorpions, where they blew a 3-goal lead the last 2 minutes, ended up costing them top 4 playoff spots. Very good point.
All right, now, you want to pile on to our team or
I'm
what?
going to sidestep the Scorpions and go with the Scabs as the biggest disappointment. Early on in the season,
Pretty good pick.
They were up there in the top 2, top 3, then started to fall off pace a little bit. I remember from the first game that the Scabs had a full line, completely dominated the Scorpions. I'm sorry that we're using our team as a punching bag for the prima donnas of the DCHL, for better and for worse. But I know that the Scabs are capable of what their record is, and they'll probably give 5-minute majors their all during the playoffs.
I think the Scabs, some of the players just couldn't make it late. That hurt them overall. So we'll see who shows up for the Scabs in the playoffs.
All right, you pour onto us then.
I think to me that's. I think you guys have picked the 2 teams that I would have picked myself as well too. So I think we're moving on to the next segment here. Next section.
What was the third?
I hate to say I told you so, but we saw the 5-minute majors at Tacoma. We saw them not just play very well, but they gave a very, very strong Afterburners team a run for their money in the playoffs. We knew that this is a team that had talent. Now suddenly they're adding Paul, got a lot better. And we just didn't, a lot of people who didn't think that they would be dominant, but they really did not. This is a team that came in wholesale. They only added 1 player, and it was a player that they were familiar with. The chemistry was already there.
They only played 2 games, too, so he didn't play many games at all, Paul.
Yeah, and he didn't even play that much.
So
They knew their system, they knew defense, they had players all around who were active. The majors, they told us so, and now all of a sudden this is a team that seems destined to scare people in the Pro Division next season.
I hope they do.
Yeah, it means they're not playing us again. That'd be great.
I really hope they do well in the Pro Division.
Did you have an I told you so, Brian?
I told you so is more of an irony. It's actually the Scorpions, because as much as we talked about them here, they were never really that much to be talked about anyway.
All right.
There you go.
Interesting.
Your thoughts?
Okay, I guess I told you so. I'm going to go with a different team. The Untouchables. Even though they finished sixth due to tiebreaker issues. It would be 1 point from being in the playoffs, actually. This is a team that I said earlier it's a pretty good team, and they are, but for different reasons. I thought they're going to have more offense. The offensive players couldn't make it this season. They'll be back next season, from what I'm being told. So they're already in good shape because they've learned how to play defense, goaltending, solid team. It's tough to play against. The Barry Melrose line, they are tough to play against. No matter who you are, you play them, you have to really earn those points. And they almost, with that roster and that great positioning and defense and goaltending, they almost got the top 4 playoffs. Next season, look out. When Greg Domenichko is here, his friends are here, they're going to score goals, and the rec league is going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that might not even be the same team as we saw. Now, it's time for us to look at what matters. It's going to be the 4 brackets, and we're going to start by asking our friend Vegas Suds what he thinks of this first bracket. Let's start at the bottom, work our way up to the top, shall we?
Back in 2 and 2.
Yeah, we're going to be back. Vegas Suds, when you come back, tell us what you think of the whole rec consolation series, because we're kind of curious.
Vegas Suds back here after a long day, enjoying a glass of wine and relaxing. And relaxing is just what these next 4 teams in the next division of playoff games should be doing. It's the 4 teams in the rec division who played very hard but could not quite make the top 4 cut. And as a result, they'll be playing for the TGIS Cup Rec. No pressure, no promotion, no demotion. They're set, just about having fun and playing hockey and getting a chance to play for a trophy. A trophy that's actually very, very important. That trophy has been won by 2 different teams who have done very, very well. The Ducks, who promoted from the rec division, now at the Pro division, and now playing the DCHL Cup Pro. And the Babylon Warriors, one of the more established franchise, who are also playing for the DCHL Cup rec side as well too. So now a trophy to kind of glance over. It's a trophy that if someone wins it, is giving people a chance or indication that they can actually do well the following season. So no pressure, just relaxing, but still fun, and still a chance to win something out there overall. Let's look at the 4 teams in that division. Number 1 seed right now is the Street Sharks, or the Street Sharks. The Street Sharks actually are a team that tied for 4th place, could have made the DCHL Cup rec playoffs, but lost in a tiebreaker to the Scabs. And this shows you how important every game and every point in DCHL is. If I go back and recall, the Street Sharks actually blew a 3-goal lead against the Scorpions with about 3 minutes to go in the game. Lost that game, watch had the game go to a tie. Lost 2 critical points there. That made a difference in them not moving on. So bad luck there. But they're the number 1 seed here, with a chance to win the TGIS Cup Rec. A team that's got a lot of young players, a lot of energy, a lot of passion, that plays hard, that stays positive, that are supporting each other out there. So I really like the Street Sharks in general. A team that needs to work on their defense more. A team needs to work on their back check more. A team that has a lot of offense. They will run and gun. A team that can be beaten on the counterattack as well. So a very good team. They can make a run, but they also have some holes they can also fill as well too. So keep that in mind. They're playing License to Thrill, a team that actually is not as bad as the record indicates. They got at least 1 point this season, or at least 2 points in shootouts. A team that has a lot of talent. Andrew Grant comes to mind right now as a player who's played very well as a rookie this season. They have Captain David Kramer and Andrew Glad and Ted as well, 2 guys who can score goals. They have good female players in Leah, Aaron, and Allison as well, both Allison as well too. Needs to work on their defense more, need to work on their foot speed, need to work on their coverage in their own zone. Their goalie couldn't play the last 6-7 games. He had to deal with a family issue, so we wish him well. But that also hurt them as well too. So a team that, don't be surprised, they're only 1 or 2 pieces away from being a very top rec team. So they have a chance now to actually pull the upset, beat the Street Sharks. They actually played last week game that they lost 7-4, so a lot of goal scoring there. I expect the same, a lot of goal scoring as well too. If the L2T can tighten their defense, get good goaltending actually as well too, they'll be a team to contend for. Not picking the upset there, but you never know what happens in that crazy rec division as well. Now to the other game, the 2 and 3 seed game. The number 2 seed right now is the Untouchables. A heartbreaking loss last year for them. They actually knocked them out of the top 4 spot. If they got any points, they would have probably advanced the top 4. But a team that again has plays very hard, has overachieved, going against a team, the Scorpions, who've got more talent than the Untouchables. Clearly, they have more talent than the Untouchables as well too. But for whatever reason, they have not gelled as much. Again, my biggest thing with this game is you see one team in the Untouchables that play a system, that play hard, that go to the positions, dump and chase, do all the things right, counterattack. Team like the Scorpions, who are more of a run and gun team, they run and gun, and then they normally get beaten in the counterattack with a forecheck as well. So a team that can actually win games, but also lose games as well too. So it's a very interesting and a very dichotomized version of play on both sides. I wouldn't be surprised if Scorpions win, with all that said, because they have all that offense. Offense is important in this league, and they have all the offense. If the Untouchables stay patient and make the Scorpions make mistakes, which they will, then the Untouchables can actually counterattack and get goals. That's the key factor in this game out there. I'm not going to pick the upset, but this is the game that I would put down as an upset alert. Scorpions could actually maybe make a run here as well too. Who's going to come out of this division? I think it's wide open. Street Sharks, Untouchables, Scorpions all have a chance. Even License to Thrill has an outside chance as well too. So it's hard for me to sit here and make a pick out there. It should be a fun division to watch. Should be a great division to watch out there. Again, keep an eye on the Scorpions. They have scoring. If they can actually play smart and play a system, they'll be okay. But you never know about the Scorpions. That's why they are where they are in the bottom half of the rec division out there. So we'll see what happens. Enjoy the rec division playoffs. Let's go and figure out what Andy and Brian have to say about this division. Andy and Brian, what do you think about this division?
You know, the way things are starting right now, we're going to start with Street Sharks and L2T. What I'm seeing here, we already saw this matchup last week. Street Sharks were 7-4 winners. And again, Street Sharks are a team that's built for excitement. They're a team that's built for fun. But are they a team that's really built for a playoff grind? The good news is, I'm not sure it matters. L2T, by talent, had the lightest load in the league. They're the only team without a win. And unfortunately, I don't see that changing here. I think the Street Sharks are going to take this one. And I think that it's going to be a pretty easy win. What do you think?
My sentiments exactly. The Street Sharks get a win in the Shark Tank.
All right. We go on to Untouchables versus Scorpions. Normally we wouldn't talk about this game, but what the heck, we've already jinxed our season. Why stop now?
Untouchables will beat us.
I wouldn't say that too fast, to be honest with you. I think that it all depends on who shows up for each team. I think you have to remember, we won that game. That's our win for the season.
However, that was a different Untouchables team early on in the season versus the later stages. And I just don't feel confident that we'll put up that much of a fight as we did the first time around.
I feel a little bit better than you do about it. I think, in part because I'm not going to be in a position where I'm going to say that we're doomed. I'm not going to say that.
Okay, guys, they're talking about the bracket already. Give me a pick to come out of this bracket. Who's your pick to come out of this bracket?
No, I think that at the end of the day, though, the Street Sharks have too much speed, too much talent. I think they're going to be the ones that are going to take it all, and I think they're going to raise that trophy for the first time.
What about you, Brian?
I'm going with the Untouchables.
Wow, okay, upset pick there. 6 seed. Okay.
All right. Well, from here, we're going to look at two teams that are going to suddenly jump to the Pro Division. Vegas Suds, what do you think about the Division II DCHL Cup?
All right, Vegas Suds back here. Cooking, one of my personal favorite activities. I could do basically de-stress and have some fun as well too. It's because cooking is an art. It's actually something that we all do to cater to our own individual needs. Everybody has different tastes, different goals when it comes to cooking in general. The idea is to mix and match ingredients, mix and match goals, whether it's low carb, low calorie, whatever your game plan is, whatever your taste flavor is, and to come up with a dish that is actually tasty and good for you and that you enjoy as well too. That's the final ultimate test. Is it good? Does it taste good? Is it good for you? Does it meet your goals out there? And basically cooking is just like the DCHL Cup playoffs in general overall, the DCHL Cup Rec Division in particular out there. That's because the DCHL Cup Rec Division, we have a lot of different players and different talent level. It's a recreational league, so basically, we don't actually, stack rosters. We try to balance rosters out. So you never know who you're going to have. You never know how good you're going to be. The idea is to develop players, is to make them better, to come together as a team, and to have the best dish overall. Just like a dish, you toss a little bit of forechecking, a little bit of scoring here, a little bit of defense here, and get players to improve. And the sum of the parts, sum of all the ingredients will be a dish that you can actually enjoy. And we actually have 4 dishes, or 4 teams, that actually have a chance to be the dish, the DCHL Cup Rec champion, this season, coming up in the 2013 spring season playoffs. And we'll talk about that right now. The DCHL Cup Rec Divisional Playoffs, 4 teams. Number 1 seed is the very impressive 5-minute major, who actually could have gone pro if they wanted to, but I was concerned about their scoring in general. But they've picked up some players like Todd and other players as well too, who picked up their scoring in general. And what's been astounding is their defense. 4 straight shutouts. I don't care what division you play in, what team you are, what league you play in. When you have 4 straight shutouts in a big venue like Rockville, where you play 45 minutes of hockey, where one mistake can be trouble for you, one speed breakaway is going to be a goal. That is astounding, unbelievable, and totally to be amended as well too, and congratulated for as well too. David, the captain of 5-minute major, great job in getting players to fill and get depth as well. They are a team that's given up 5 goals in 7 games. Again, astounding, and they'll be very tough to play against, and they're very likely to move up to pro if they continue to be stingy on defense and play great goaltending as well too. Number 1 seed, get to play the Scabs as the number 4 seed, a rematch of Week 7 action, where the Scabs got shut out 3-0 as part of the 4-game shutout streak for the 5-minute majors. And in my personal opinion, it's going to take a lot from the Scabs to pull this upset. They have scoring, don't deny me that, but the 5-minute major is a very patient team. They allow teams to make mistakes, they counterattack, and they're very good at moving the puck forward. And Scabs are a run-and-gun team who tends to sometimes leave the back door open, and the 5-minute major are a team you cannot do that against. The Scabs do have goal scoring, so we'll see again, opportunity number 2 for them to see if they can score goals against the 5-minute major defensive goaltending out there. It's going to be a tough matchup for them. But you know what? If they play well on defense, they tighten it down, they keep it close, you never know, because most of the 5-minute major games are low-scoring games, and those games, anything can happen overall. But I wouldn't, put my life savings on the Scabs this week actually. The second game we have is the number 2 seed, 2 Jacks No Coke, going against the number 3 seed, which is going to be actually the Babylon Warriors. Warriors finished with a flurry this season. They were actually the bottom 6 or 7, actually the bottom 2 or 3 in terms of teams in the rec division. They made a last-minute push with the last 2 or 3 games. They beat the Untouchables in pretty much a do-or-die game last week, Week 7 of the regular season, to make the playoffs, the DCHL Cup Rec playoffs, and they're on a hot streak. Their renewed growth is based on 2 reasons. Number 1, they picked up Alex Claude, who has now become secondary scoring with JP, helped JP balance scoring out. They also have got more players coming back. Earlier this season, they had very few players. Now some of the players are back and playing now, so that gives them more depth as well too. Todd's playing better in goal, and they're a low-scoring team. They play good defense. I wouldn't say great defense, but they hustle. They come back and back check. They play pretty good defense. So solid team on the improve, on a hot streak, going against a team, 2 Jacks No Cook, who last year had 0 wins as expansion team. Now, folks, listen again. This is why I love this league. Expansion team of players who didn't know each other, all free agents, pretty much. They struggled last season to get even 1 win. They got no wins, but they stick together. They didn't add that much more talent. They got better. They worked hard. They stayed patient. This is what I love about the league out there. It's not about stacking teams. There are certain leagues and certain guys and certain teams that love to get the best player available and make their team better. That's not what this league is about. It's about getting better and better, working together as a team, having a common goal, building a bond, making friends, and coming up with a destination that makes sense for everybody out there. So basically, bottom line is, this is a team that actually has done very, very well, and I'm very proud of them for how far they've gotten so far this season. Number 2 seed, only 1 regulation loss the entire season. playing very, very well. It's no longer Lucy anymore. They have other goal scorers as well too. They play good defense. They have good. They also have good forechecking. They have good speed. Sean Sampson, and that has been a godsend for them as well too. A very, very good team. So it's going to be a tough match for the Babylon Warriors going against Jacksonville Coke. A lot of people are picking the Babylon Warriors to make that run. They certainly have a chance. But you know what? I'm sticking with Jacksonville Coke here. Solid team. If they play their game and if their players there, I think they have more overall depth and they're playing much better, and I think they'll probably advance as well too. Who's going to win this bracket? Well, it's going to be very tough to argue against 5-minute major, but let's remember, 5-minute major's only non-regulation win. It came in a shootout. It came against the very same 2 Jack Snow Coke. So a team that played them very hard, even through regulation, and lost in the shootout. So I'm not so sure you can actually give 5-minute major the trophy just yet, promoting the pro. I think 2 Jack Snow Coke has got a say in this. So if they happen to meet, it'd be a great game. I'm not making a pick right now, but I'm just telling you right now, if it's 5-minute major versus 2 Jack Snow Coke in the finals, all bets are off. If it's not, it's going to be 5-minute major to take the cup overall. So those are my thoughts on the DCHL Cup. Let's get the thoughts from Andy and Brian, who are back in the studios. Andy, who do you think is going to win this one?
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it, I guess. 5-minute majors and scabs. We saw this matchup last time. It was 3-0 to the majors. The majors riding a well over 3-hour goalless, or well, shutout streak, I should say, against a scabs team that they made to look disoriented. This seems like the easiest pick of the 8 games.
Clearly, it's the scabs.
Of course. No. Well, we're going to go with the majors to go up. The other one, and there's been a lot of confusion about this. On the podcast, I started to say that the winner of this game would promote because they would have head-to-head over the loser. Then I was told, no, that's not how it works. Then Sunday, somebody said, yes, that is how it works. What's the answer here, Suds? Come on, you're the one who runs this thing.
What was the question again?
Does the head-to-head determine who promotes in this one? Okay.
If both teams with the same playoff record, the higher seed, it does not promote. It's the head-to-head that's more important.
Well, in that case,
if they haven't played each other, then the higher seed promotes. Obviously.
All right.
Again, are we playing soccer or hockey? Promotion relegation never makes sense to me.
It's done everywhere but America. Get used to it.
I'll play somewhere else.
So what this means, therefore, is no matter how you slice it, the winner of this game is going up. That's how it works in the 2-3 game. 2 Jacks, no Coke, Babylon Warriors. We've already discussed that the Jacks have a very strong lineup. We've already discussed that the Warriors are riding a hot goalie and a great playmaker. This is going to be a barn burner, and this is a game I would love to see as the game of the week, to be honest with you. If I had anything to say about it, which I do not, of course, we will.
Which you do, but the final is made by the league office, so we'll take into consideration.
So this, I think, is going to be the best game. I really don't have any idea who's going to win this one. This could go either way.
I agree. It could be a toss-up. I'm leaning towards Babylon Warriors just to see what elements they bring to this matchup on Sunday. But a gut feeling is that 2 Jacks, no Cokes will prevail over Babylon Warriors by a goal or 2. We'll be that close. And
by the way, guys, just to remind you, in the playoffs, we don't go straight from a tie regulation to a shootout. We have a 5-minute overtime in between before we go to the shootout. So 5-minute sudden death overtime gives you a chance to come back and settle something. Now, as far as who's going to raise the Division II Cup, the majors are the odds-on favorite here. I don't see that. I don't see anyone's challenge. I don't see any other result.
I don't see that changing either. It's their trophy to lose at this point.
All right. Well, we know that 2 teams are going to go up. That means 2 teams have to go down. Vegas Suds. Let's talk about the consolation bracket in Division I. Which 2 teams are going to find themselves in unfamiliar territory of the Rec Division next season?
All right. Vegas Suds back here, wrapping up a grueling workout. Working hard, a lot of sweat, a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of dedication. And let me tell you, that ties in with the DCHL Pro Division TGIS Cup playoffs as well. 4 teams that worked their butt offs, played hard, a lot of sweat, a lot of energy, a lot of dedication, but couldn't quite make the top 4 for the DCHL Cup. So they're playing for a consolation prize, which is the TGIS Cup Pro. 4 teams there. And unfortunately, 2 of those teams will actually be relegated to the Rec Division next season if they lose their first round playoff matchup. And 1 team will win the TGIS Cup Pro. Now let's look at the actual seedings here. We've got the number 1 seed, the Snake Eyes, who actually have played very well recently. The Snake Eyes actually have gone on a pretty good run, scored some goals, showing some offense and some chemistry, and some good overall passing. A lot of good teamwork from a defensive standpoint, transition standpoint, from offense to defense, goaltending as well too. Probably playing one of the best games of any teams right now in the DCHL. Unfortunately, they didn't quite make the DCHL Cup Pro, but they're the #1 seed for the TGIS Cup Pro, and I think they can do a very good job. They'll be a very tough to beat, especially with the renewed offense. Not the old Snake Eyes, they're showing more offense now, so look out opponents, they can actually score goals and play defense and be gritty and stop shots in there as well too. They're playing Blood Red, who actually unfortunately having a very poor season. They started the year with a 10-0 win. That's right, a 10-0 win over their cross-divisional exhibition game in the Babylon Warriors, in a game where we all thought, oh my God, are the Babylon Warriors that bad, or is Blood Red that good? Well, after that victory, Blood Red only won once more the entire regular season. So their wheels have come off. Now the wheels come off, the axles come off, the paint's come off the car, the entire car has come off. They are really struggling right now. And considering how much talent they have on that team, that's somewhat of a shock even to me as well too. They haven't quite learned to play 5-on-5 in a large format, and haven't got that team chemistry and team positioning down well, and team instinct how to play 5-on-5 well as well too. So unfortunately, they're the #4 seed, have to go with Snake Eyes, and they're in very tough. In fact, if you ask me for one lock this entire preseason, I think Snake Eyes will pretty easily handle Blood Red in the playoffs, in the semifinals this week actually overall. The other matchup is pretty intriguing between the second seed Cobra Kai, defending DCHL Cup Pro champions who couldn't quite get in the top 4 this season. They'll play for the TGIS Cup this time around, and they're playing against a renewed and re-energized Chiefs team who have won, I believe, 2 of the last 3 games, if I recall correctly, and they have more depth now. They picked up players from their social network and have gotten deeper, gotten better, gotten faster, has more offense now. It's just not about Paul, David, and Ruben anymore. They've got a couple of players that you look out for. They have a new netminder, which allows Matt to play defense. He's great playing defense. This team is deeper, stronger, can score more, has more speed. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs gave Cobra Kai the money. That should beat them as well too. I'm not making an upset. I'm not making any picks in general. But I would think that would be a good game to watch as well too. So if there's any seed here that can lower seed and make a run between the 3 and 4 seed, I would definitely choose the Chiefs over Blood Red in making a run. So who's going to win it all? It's going to be a good game, a good bracket actually. I think actually right now, Snake Eyes are playing very, very well. And to me, they should take the actual TGIS Cup. But let's just see how it all plays out, how it all comes in there. To get the opinion of Andy and Brian doing the podcast. Andy and Brian, who do you think will come out of this bracket? Give us your analysis on the TGIS Cup Pro Playoffs. Andy?
Well, my first thought is that you need decaf. My second thought is that we're going to start with the Snake Eyes and Blood Red. Snake Eyes put up more goals than any other team in any one game, and they played Blood Red, put up 9 against them. So, they've got to be considered a favorite here. Blood Red, though, the scary thing is if they have all those shooters, they could have their act together. Who knows? I mean, there's a reason that all these teams are in pro. They can scare anyone they come across.
What scares me the most about Blood Red is the lack of defense.
That's true.
That's a key factor into this matchup.
Their defense has let them down. There's only so much the goaltending can do. And a hot goalie can steal games, but it's got to be... He can only steal games if the teams are relatively close in all other facets.
I've seen the goalie stop 45 shots before, but he can't do that on a regular basis.
I know what you mean. The other game, the loser of this game will go down to the rec division. It's Cobra Kai and the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been in the rec before. They sort of have yo-yoed so far in their history in the DCHL. Cobra Kai, the defending champions, not going to have a chance to defend their trophy. So one of these teams is going to be in for a massive disappointment. Now, we can't really even factor in the game they played in the regular season because in that game, the Chiefs goaltender was literally flying blind. Thank you very much, Sarah. I'm sure he appreciates it. Don't worry, she started. She's the first one to bring up that this was her fault. So we care about y'all here. We don't even know what to say about that, but what happens if both teams bring all of their players? We're going to have, you're going to have Mike Hager for Cobra Kai, you're going to have Paul Feinstein for the Chiefs. You're going to have a great shooting contest, but will it be enough? How do you think this is going to come out?
Cobra, wow, I'm even speechless about this.
Now there you go, folks.
By 2, maybe 3 goals.
Oh, wow. All right, as for the team that's going to get a trophy out of this, you're like Cobra Kai in this one just because they have the trophy before. What do you think?
I agree. I think Cobra Kai may be too much to handle for the Snake Eyes.
All right. And with that, we go to the big one, the Final Four. The road to Sud Bowl 10 has finally come to an end. Vegas Suds, who do you like to be the Season 10 champions?
Vegas Suds back here with the 2013 Spring Season Playoff Preview Podcast. And this particular podcast section, it's about 2:30 in the morning. I'm wrapping up my long day, doing my last minute emails, and of course playing with Puddins down here, who always wants attention. And basically, wrapping up my night. But we would be remiss if we wrap up our night and our podcast without dissecting the DCHL Pro Cup playoffs. This is the motherlode of them all. 4 teams vying for the biggest honor of all, the DCHL Cup Pro Champion. Number 1 seed, Puck Buddies, Molly's new team. If you recall, Molly, our assistant commissioner, Captain Gold, who actually disbanded and moved on, and they had won 3 championships. So Molly was faced with the task of coming up with a new team, and she and Jen Pa, I believe, if I recall correctly, helped in pulling in new players from different leagues and different teams in general, and create a brand new team that not only went undefeated, but was a powerhouse the entire season in the DCHL Cup Pro Division. And what was amazing was these players never really played with each other overall. So a lot of chemistry, issues may have popped up, but nope, they had one player who actually stood out. That player is Jake. Jake did very, very well for them, but it's more than one player team. They got Peter Doe on defense. They're just solid up and down. Solid players. Peter Doe, Jason as well, Ben, Ryan, Jen Pa, Cassidy Proctor when she was healthy, Maria Filligan as well too, Carrie Rapolsky, great two-way player, Sarab, can't forget Sarab as well too, and the goalie Sean. A very solid team from A to Z, team that actually came together very quickly and did very, very well to be in this position of being number 1 seed and being undefeated and perfect going into the DCHL Cup Pro playoffs. There'll be a handful to actually beat at this case. The number 4 seed, NWO, they had a tough draw now. They actually played very well, made a late season run, tied the Ducks in the shootout actually last week. If they'd gotten more points or won in the shootout, they actually would have been the number 3 seed, but unfortunately they didn't get that 1 point they needed out there. They're number 4 seed. As a result, they have a tough road to hoe. They got to play Puck Buddies off the bat. And, for a team that plays very hard, they play very, very well, a team that actually is a two-way team in general, very gritty, hard-working team. Don't know if they have enough goal scoring or not. We'll find out. Their job is going to be to keep Jake and everybody else off the scoreboard and keep it a low-scoring game. I just don't think they're going to have enough in a bottom line. They're going to play very, very well, but I think bottom line is Puck Buddies are just too solid across the board. They'll find ways to score goals, and I think they'll probably move on. But I wouldn't be shocked by an upset either, so FYI. The other game, it features the number 2 seed, the Ducks, going against Funkmaster Redux. Funkmaster Redux, a solid team that's done very, very well. Probably Andy's favorite team in the DCHL Cup Pro Division. A team that I love as well, too. Solid. They're tough to play against. They're always going to be there. They always finish the top half of the division. They always do well. My only caveat with Funkmasters, they don't have enough scoring. They don't have the extra oomph to maybe get to the top level and win it all. They're the top level, but to win it all, be the final team standing, they're going to need consistent secondary and tertiary scoring. We haven't seen that consistently, and if Keats off his game, they're in big trouble. So, a team that can certainly can pull upsets and win. I picked them last season at Tacoma Park in a great game against Cobra Kai, probably one of the best I've ever seen. Cobra Kai beat them in a comeback, so that was just a great game overall. So I'm not going to pick them this season. I do think that they're going to give Ducks a lot to handle. Ducks are a team that plays very, very well, but can be beaten if a defensive team comes along, chests them down, makes it play a neutral zone game, runs and guns the opposite way, counterattacks, and forces a forecheck. So Ducks are a team that you're fortunate against and play the neutral zone against as well too. But Ducks have gotten better as well too. And they've tightened their defense overall. They need a couple more grinders to be a solid number 1 seed, I think. But right now they're a number 2 seed. They've done very, very well. That should be a great game. In fact, it'll probably be our game of the week. Actually, all the games can be game of the week out there. But I'm going to guess that Andy asked for that game. I'll probably grant him that game as a week. We may also have the other DCHL Cup program as game of the week as well, so we'll see how it plays out. So really 2 great teams in both sides of the brackets out there. It should be fun to watch. It should be intense, high level of hockey. We'll probably tape both games so you can watch on the YouTube channel as well too. I don't have a pick. It's hard for me to pick against the Puck Buddies. They played so well. But you know what? You never, ever, ever, ever know. So again, I wish them all the best of luck. And we'll see who's crowned the 2013 DCHL Cup Pro Champion in about 2 weeks out there. Let's get Andy's thoughts on this. Let's see what Andy and Brian have to say about their picks for the DCHL Cup Pro playoffs while I sign off for the night. We'll see you maybe next week, guys. Have a great time this weekend over at the Rockwell Sportsplex.
Well, this is going to be what we all came here for. This is a big one. We've saved the best for last.
10-year anniversary, 10-season anniversary.
It's the 10th.
The 10th
DCHL playoff. Sud Bowl 10 in the works. Puck Buddies, NWO in 1 semifinal. The Puck Buddies have been undefeated, 7-0. The NWO, and you mentioned earlier how much each game matters.
Correct.
Think about this, folks. Way back in week 1, Master Redux faced the NWO. Keith gets the ball off of the fluke, makes the steal at the center, fires a shot on goal, gets it past the goalie. The Funks win the game. That's why they're the 3 and NWO is the 4. Every game counts, folks. So with that said, the NWO now put themselves in a very difficult situation. I know that Mike Johnson is a great player. I know that Bill Nardi is a shooter. I know that Jason Liberté is a great leader. But the question is, can anybody stop Jake? Anyone? I mean, he's got what, 17, 18? He's the runaway leader in terms of scoring this season.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been incredible.
Just for the hell of it, I'm going to go with NWO for shock value because Puck Buddies haven't really faced stiff competition all season long, and this could be the trap game in which Puck Buddies are unprepared for and suffer their first loss, which comes at a crucial time where they're trying to march onward to the championship.
All right. Game 2, Ducks, Funk Masters. This is one where, Suds and I have argued all week about who's going to win this one. Funk Masters won the game in the regular season. The Ducks at 13 points, the Funk Masters at 11 points. Both teams with great shooters, both teams with a defensive system. Both teams have hot and cold goaltenders. There's a lot of similarities here. The question is, who's going to carry the day right now? The best player on the floor is going to be Keith for the Funk Masters. The best unit might be the first line for the Ducks with Luke Taylor, Chris Barron, and Chris Callender. What's going to happen here? How's this going to play out?
This is one of the games that'll go into overtime and probably a shootout. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ducks get the revenge on the Funk Master Ducks.
All right, well, and when it comes to raising the trophy, the Puck Buddies are the heavy favorite. Having seen them all day, I don't think Jake's going to let them lose this trophy. They're going to be lifting the hardware. Molly, once again, a great captain, is going to be raising it up. We're going to watch her take the lap of honor. That's my pick. What do you think?
Well, I already said that they're going to lose. I'll stick with it, even though I think they'll actually walk away with it, but I hope that the Ducks prove me right in winning the whole shebang.
All right, the Ducks just 2 seasons to go. We're the Division II champions. Can they be the Division I champions this season? That's all for this very professional broadcast. Thank you all for listening. When we get there Sunday at 2 p.m., let the real games begin. Brian Smalley for Suds Chan. This is Andy Goss. Thank you very much. Voice going silent.
That was fun.